Hi there, trauma healers. Lev here from Find Your Way. In today's video, what we're going to talk about is neurofeedback. It's an amazing method to help you overcome trauma, whether it be repeated childhood trauma, major adult trauma. Neurofeedback basically helps to rewire your brain. So before we get into that, a little bit about my background. I'm an attorney by trade and been successful in my career, but reached a point where I was just not happy. My personal life was in shambles, and after the universe kicking me in the face enough times, I realized that I needed to work on myself. I needed to heal and release the trauma from my childhood that was affecting my adult life. And it's now my mission to help other people who've suffered from trauma recover as well, so they can make the rest of their life the best of their life. And that's what I want for you. I want the rest of your life to be the best of your life. So let's talk about neurofeedback. Now, in past videos, what I've told you about is methods to release trauma from your body. But the way that our body is we don't just have a body, we have a brain as well. Now, the subconscious, basically that includes your body, because when you feel emotions, where do you feel them? You feel them in your body. So it's kind of like, the way you should look at it is it's like a cycle going both ways. So your thoughts in your brain, the wiring of your brain, can affect how you feel in your body, and also vice versa. If your body doesn't feel well, it can affect the thoughts in your brain. And so it's important to both heal your body and your mind, especially if you've been through trauma. Now, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and that's where I found out about neurofeedback. Highly recommend reading that book. It'll give you amazing insights and awareness about trauma and how to overcome it. And in that book, one of the methods that was recommended was neurofeedback. So I decided to give it a shot. So let me tell you how neurofeedback works, and then you can decide whether it's something that you want to try. As I've said before, I recommend stacking methods. Don't just do one thing. Try different methods, see what works best for you, and when you find what works best for you, do it consistently and do it all the way. So the way neurofeedback starts is, first you have what's called a brain mapping session. They'll put a bunch of nodules on your brain and this kind of glue-like substance, and it's kind of this soft helmet that's put on your head. And so what brain mapping does is it evaluates how your brain waves are functioning, and also the different areas of your brain that are either overactive or underactive. And so, for example, there's a variety of brain waves. There's the theta brainwave state. In early childhood, we're basically in theta most of the time, and theta is a very meditative state. It's the state that you're in when you're in very deep sleep. And it's also a very suggestible state. Theta brainwaves is when you can be hypnotized. And unfortunately, in early childhood, you're mainly in theta brainwave state. So basically, anything that happens to you just gets deeply programmed into your brain. That's why early childhood trauma is so challenging to overcome and so deeply hardwired in your brain. And neurofeedback actually helps with that. The other brainwave state is alpha. That's also a somewhat meditative state, but like awake meditation, highly focused. If you're in a flow state, that's generally an alpha brainwave state. Flow, when you're in deep concentration and doing something you're good at really well, and just time seems to go by really fast. The other brainwave state is beta. Beta is basically your typical day-to-day normal brainwave state, where you're going about your day at work, school, exercising, what have you. Beta is a normal state. Delta is a lower brainwave. Delta is the normal state when you're sleeping, and delta, you can feel kind of tired and out of it when you're in a delta state. And unfortunately, a lot of people who've experienced trauma are oftentimes in a delta state, because what would happen is the brain would basically dissociate because the trauma was so severe. So the brain would dissociate into this lower brainwave state basically to protect you. The issue is that it's maladaptive to constantly be spaced out and tired once you're an adult. And like I said, the other thing that the brain mapping determines are parts of your brain that are over or underactive when you have too much of one wave, not enough of the other. Typically people who've been traumatized, like I said, they have too much delta. They also have very high beta, and the alpha and theta brain waves are unfortunately not as present. And so just look at it this way. If you have your brain waves functioning properly, then your thoughts tend to be more positive. Your emotions tend to be more controlled. And so back to the neurofeedback. So after they map your brain, they're able to tell what brainwaves you have too much of, what brainwaves you have too few of, and also, like I said before, the parts of your brain that are either over or underactive. Like basically what you want is you want to have your brain not overactive and not underactive, just kind of in a balanced state. And same thing with brainwaves. They all serve a function, but you don't want too much of the beta and delta brainwave state. You want to have more alpha and theta brainwave states. And so it helps you be more creative, be happier, feel better, have more positive thoughts. So once the brain mapping is done, then the practitioner, and it's usually a naturopathic doctor, although some medical doctors are starting to do neurofeedback as well. And so what they do is they basically devise a treatment plan for you. And it typically, depending on how traumatized your brain is, basically how damaged it is from your trauma, they will then decide how many sessions you should have. Typically, it's anywhere from as few as 10 sessions, as many as 40 sessions. And so once they devise a treatment plan for you, the way neurofeedback works is you come to the office, you sit down, they put some nodules in your ears and also at different points of your brain or on top of your head, connected to your brain. And then they also play some background music and also some brainwave entrainment stuff. So there's a couple of ways they do that. First, there's actual brainwave sounds that connect to the various different brainwaves like theta or alpha. It's kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a helicopter sound in the background. Also, depending on how your brain imaging comes out, sometimes they'll also have you watch something on a TV screen, which also helps to rewire your brain. And again, it's tied to the music. Now, the nodules that they put on your brain, what they're doing is they're monitoring your brain waves, and then the music and the images, they're all tied to that to try and rewire your brain. What also happens is that about the halfway point, the other part of the brainwave entrainment is that the volume goes up and goes down based on how your brain waves are appearing. Same thing with the image. It's made brighter or dimmer. And doing this over time actually rewires your brain. And so what it does is it makes the overactive areas of your brain less active, and it makes the underreactive of parts of your brain more active. And so you have better concentration, you feel better, you feel more positive, you have much better emotional control, you get less triggered by situations, events, people. And, you know, I found it, look, here's the thing. It's not cheap to get neurofeedback, but it does work. At least it's worked for me. Nothing's 100%, but other people that I've talked to who've done it have gotten some good results. Like I said, the body keeps the score, talks about it. So I do think you'll be seeing more and more of this treatment. And the great thing about it as well is it's natural. You're not having to take any foreign substance that maybe you would have side effects to. So check out Neurofeedback. Please like my video. Please subscribe. And if you have a trauma healing method that you've done that's been very helpful for you, please talk about it in the comments below so we can help everybody with what's helped you. Until next time, love you all.